What's up? Welcome to the Jennifer L. Watson Show. And I'm excited to be here. Let me tell you. Lord, we made it. Okay. So I have Miss Erica Johnson. She is here. You can't see her, but you can definitely hear her. And let me just tell you all about the technical stuff that she and myself just had to go through. And so we were like, you know what? It's okay. You can't see her, but you can hear her because I don't know. We turned it off. It might mess up.
Right. Going with it. Going with it.
Right. So I want to make sure you all are staying tuned because we're going to be talking to Erica all about mediumship, right? Because this is a very interesting topic and especially it's something that's not tangible. So we're going to get into that here in a second, right after the intro. This video has been made possible by House of Oya Botanica, your one-stop shop for all of your spiritual needs. And if you're checking us out on Facebook, don't forget to heart, follow, and share this broadcast out. And if you are on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share as well. All right, thanks for tuning in and on with the show. Okay, so I'm excited to dig into this. Miss Erica.
Yes, yes.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us here. I really just want to talk about, what it is that you do and how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah, it's been a long, windy road to get here. But what I do, um, I connect people to the spirit world. So when people, what we say, die, we're really just talking about the physical body having its expiration, where it no
Mm,
longer functions. But the spirit or soul, that is something that is forever, like literally
mm,
forever. And so I am able to connect with a person's consciousness. And
mm,
then by making that connection, I'm able to help people, um, resolve issues that they may have. Sometimes people are carrying pain or regret.
mm,
Um, a really common question that people will ask me is, is my mother or father, brother, sister, are they happy with me now? Are they,
mm,
I said I was going to do XYZ and, it's taken me a long time to do it. Are they disappointed? And,
mm,
generally speaking, when it comes to making that connection or when people ask questions like this, the people, our loved ones on the other side are like our biggest supporters. And
mm,
they don't want us like pressing pause and waiting for something to happen because they understand that this life is so short.
mm, mm.
You live for a few days or you live to be 101, it is going to go by in the blink of an eye.
Mm.
And
That is
so,
so.
I connect with the dead. I also work with the living as well. So I'm a psychic medium, and so there is a difference.
Mm,
So psychics, they work with the living, and we communicate by what we call telepathy,
mm,
which is again, it's still tapping into that universal consciousness. It's just that what we call living people, we have that physical matter. So we have a physical body and of course this eternal energy that is like the operating system.
mm,
So I work with living people doing psychic work, and then I work on the other side as a medium and a necromancer. And so
mm,
in that aspect, I help people who are in the process of transitioning. So
mm,
I'm similar to a death doula, um, but I'm a little bit different in that some death doulas may work closely with the person who's going through the dying process. Plus, they may work with like the family to support them. They may be like on site doing some type of physical care for the person. And so
Mm,
I work virtually. I work virtually and empathically again with that telepathy. So I'm able to connect to the dying person. Sometimes they need to get a message out to their family of, I'm okay, I'm ready to be released because
mm,
um, this is a big deal, of course, when someone is going through their dying process. And obviously, everyone who dies, it's different, of course. So some people, you go to get a gallon of milk and you never make it back home. Um,
mm,
and then some people, they experience some type of illness or something. So it's a bit of a longer process. And in those instances, people may have an opportunity to say goodbye to their loved ones or, share some final times together, right? Um, and with that, it's a very emotionally charged time.
mhm,
And so some people, they want you to do everything you possibly can to keep that physical body so-called alive.
yeah, mm,
And the person may be like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to release this body and, I want to move on. And so sometimes people in love, of course, is
mm,
their love, their fear, their wanting to have that one last, whatever. But
mm,
that can create some resistance and make it more difficult for people who are wanting to transition. So,
mm,
um, so sometimes my job is to be like that go-between to say, hey, you need to get Aunt Susie out of there. Go, go give Aunt Susie a job to go do something else so that grandma can make her transition peacefully.
mm,
So
mm.
it varies. It varies my work, and I'm really grateful for it because there is variety, and I'm always open and expanding to see, what's next. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's it.
You know, oh, sorry.
Oh no, go for it.
Um, Listening to you talk about that is very interesting because, like when my mother passed a few years ago, I had just had a baby. I'm running back and forth to the hospital. I mean, my kid was like 1 month old. And so I mean, I was already prepared, and I knew she was getting ready to go, but I knew she didn't want to die in front of me. So she waited until I wasn't there because I was there so constantly. And so, and listening to you explain that, yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
How did you get into all of this? Like, did you wake up one day and like how did the sun was shining and I'm
Right.
connected or
I like that. I like that. I wish it was like that. That would be cool. Um, so I will say that on the one hand, I've always been that kind of weird woo-woo person in a way. I was always drawn to the occult, even before I knew it was called the occult, and mysticism. I loved, like growing up, I had these two really big books that were my absolute favorite. So one was this giant book of Bible stories, and the other
mm,
was this big book of like astronomy, not astrology, astronomy. So it would show
mm,
the stars, the galaxies, all of that. And so when I would look at that book, there would be something about it where I always felt like I had been there before. Like when I look
mm,
star systems, and it's like, man, this feels so familiar to me. And then
mm,
when I would read the Bible stories, I enjoyed them, and I always had these questions though, because for me, it's
mm,
like things that they were saying. Like one that I got in trouble for was about Jonah and the whale, right?
mm,
So I'm at Bible school or yeah, Bible study with my grandma because she was the more religious person at the time. And I'm like asking, like, well, how could Jonah get swallowed by the whale and then come out a few days later, like, hey, here I am and just ready to go? Like, make sense. How does that work? And so I would ask all these questions and things just didn't add up to me. It just didn't make sense. And so I appreciated the stories as far as I felt like they were allegories trying to share a message of,
Mhm.
look at your life in this way or pay attention to this thing.
Mhm.
It just didn't make sense. And it's just so for me, like I try to be in the traditional church and but it just didn't work. Like I tried hard
Yeah.
but things that I would sense, things that I was picking up about people. So as a child, one of my abilities, which is so random, hear people like if a person spoke with an accent, I
Mhm.
instantly knew where they were from.
Oh, wow.
Never been there, didn't know anything about it. I would just know that where they came from. And
Wow.
I remember someone asking me about it one time. This man was just talking to me, and I knew he was from Jamaica. And again, I was a kid, so I didn't grow up around Caribbean people at that time. So, um, but I just knew, and he knew I knew, but I wouldn't say I acted like I didn't know. And he was like, "No, you know, you know." So it would be like these random things that would happen, or I would just know things. I would say things to adults about. I remember this one time with my mom and my stepfather and some of their friends, and this guy came over and he was with this lady, and I had not met them before, but I
Mhm.
looked at the man and I looked at the woman and I said, "How come you're with that lady? She's not your wife. Why are you here?"
Oh.
So you could tell that the adults were just really loving to have me. Um, so it would be just random things like that. I would just be drawn to like a lot of things that people call fantasy, but for me, they just felt very real.
Mhm.
Older, I learned very quickly that at that time it did not really feel safe to be that way, to really share what I was seeing or picking up around people. So I tried to like turn those abilities off, ignore them,
Mhm.
just go in a different direction. And yet these interesting things would keep happening. Like one of my first apartments, I moved in with my kids. It was haunted. It was definitely. We would be sitting in the living room, and you could see it would look like you could literally see like an arm or like a shoulder going by, and then
Oh.
it would go like right into my kids' room. So I would jump up from the living room and run and see like who the hell, who's
Right.
what's happening. And of course, we're going there. And at first, I think I'm just tripping, making it up. And then I would actually have my friends over, and they would be like, "Was it? Is this somebody else here? Like, something going on." So that was really trippy. And
Uh,
learned that, like, the man that lived next door, like, he had died in the apartment directly across from my apartment.
oh, wow.
It was funny because even though I could only see, like, a hand or a leg, for me, I
Uh-huh.
felt this, like, male energy. I always
Mm.
felt it was a man. And
Mm.
um yeah, so it would just be different things, like, even when, Tupac died, I remember
Mm.
just feeling that very, very heavy. When
Mm.
Aaliyah died, like, I
Mm.
was immediately drawn into, like, I could see her on the plane, I could see people, it was just very it was sad. It was sad, it was sad, but I didn't understand that I was a medium, so I was making it up. I thought it was just my imagination, and so,
Mm.
it took many, many years actually until my mom became seriously ill, and
Mm.
I have always been curious. I kind of dabbled in like naturopathic
Mhm.
medicine, and I personally believe that like your mind, like you could heal yourself with your mind.
Mhm.
And I even had an experience of that when I was, gosh, I don't know, in my late 30s, maybe late
Mhm.
30s. I used to have really, really heavy periods, like
Mhm.
crime scene heavy.
Oh.
They always wanted to give me blood transfusions because I was
Oh
just like I would be down to like a single digit with my blood count, my red blood count.
my
And so I did get a few transfusions, but even after that, I was still like bleed out. And so they wanted to give me a hysterectomy, and I was like, no, I just
Mm.
like that doesn't feel right to me. There has to be something else. And so
Mhm.
um, finally acquiesced to this other procedure. And so I had to go into the hospital for that procedure. And in my heart, I still really didn't even want to have that procedure.
Mhm.
Um, I just started talking to my body, and I said, okay, whatever this is, it's in my womb that is no longer serving me. I don't need it anymore. If I'm going to have the procedure, then I release it all into that space of whatever they have to remove. I release it, I let it go, and my body's going to be healed. And so
Wow.
it was funny because there were so many delays even to that procedure while I'm in the hospital. It took like maybe 10 or 12 hours between the time when they said they were going to do it before they actually did the procedure because
Wow.
all these things kept happening. And so
Wow.
while I'm waiting and getting kind of annoyed, but I keep talking to myself. And
Yeah.
so when they finally take me in for the procedure, they put me to sleep, and then I woke up and it felt like just a few minutes later, which I mean, if you ever been under anesthesia, it always just feels like a few minutes. But I really felt like, man, I feel like this is just a few minutes. What happened? So I woke up and my body physically, I didn't feel like, anything had been done to me. And so I asked the nurse, what happened? And so she said that the doctor, when they were doing the procedure, they they like use like some type of scope to
Mhm.
like inside of my uterus and looking around the area, and the lump, whatever they saw, like it was gone. There was
Wow.
nothing there. And so they, woke me up because, there was no need. So I was like, okay, that's what's up.
Right.
And so, I would have like different experiences. But then, like I said, I got really, so my mom was diagnosed with cancer in like maybe like 2011, 2012-ish, something like that.
Mhm.
And so when she got that diagnosis, at that time, it was not aggressive or anything, and she was able to get, like, a lumpectomy. So they just, like,
Mhm.
removed, the lumps from each breast that was there. It was very small, and she got, like, some treatment, and then, she went on living her life. Um, and then, unfortunately, in I think it was, like, maybe 2015,
Mhm.
2016, um, she stayed on top of her checkups and doctor's appointments and all that, and so she was diagnosed with cancer again, and so
Mm.
it was, like, more aggressive, and, so it just ended up being this whole thing, right? And so with me being, like, one of her primary caregivers and just being on this path, like I had already left the traditional church, and I was just looking for, like, answers, and, like, I just knew there was more, and I wanted to make that connection. I knew that I was divine and sovereign and that I was my own God, like, I was connected. I was
Mhm.
Like I had that power, and so I wanted to understand like how do I work with this with intention, and of course I knew I was going to save my mom. Like that was it. I was going to save my mom, and
Mm.
so so that's what got me to really start embracing my abilities more and actually taking classes. And then in the process of all that, my stepfather died suddenly. Um,
Mm.
and well, actually, it's kind of funny. Well, uh, we weren't really that close. Like he's my father, he's my sister's dad.
Okay.
We didn't really have a close relationship like that. But of
Okay.
course, my sister, that's her dad, so
Mm.
I was 100% there for her. Um, and my mom, they had been divorced for man, like 10 or 20 years or something by the time he transitioned. So, she had moved on, he moved on. Um,
Okay.
but we, like I said, I had a rough time with him when I was growing up. And so even though as an adult we were cool, we were cordial, and um I mean he even did some things that actually helped me when I went back to college as an adult.
Mm.
But on the inside, there was still that pain, that anger, all of that for me. And so when he died, I was like, "Oh, okay, good, bye."
I understand.
Even that was so funny because, so I live in California, and my mom was out here. I forget where my sister was because with her job, she kind of moved a lot. But but I ended up having to go to Texas for the funeral because that's where my stepfather lived. He was from
Mm.
Texas, and when he retired, he ended up moving back there. And
Mm.
so the funeral, was gonna be in Texas, and so when I went, I really didn't wanna go to the service, but of course,
Mm.
I'm gonna do whatever to be there, for them. And so, as it turned out, they needed somebody to stay at the house to watch the kids. So I was like, "Hey, Auntie Erica, all over it. I don't care, 20, 30, 40 kids, I don't care. I got I'll see y'all when it's all over," right? So that worked out. It was a win-win. But what happened from that experience is that my stepfather started reaching out to me,
Uh-oh.
and he kept trying to communicate with me. He was trying to apologize, and he wanted to be forgiven, and I was like, "Screw you. Screw you. I don't care. You dead, go on by."
Yeah,
And
that's real.
even though I was having these experiences with him, there was still a part of me that was like, "Girl, you just making this up. You're tripping. Like this man is not talking to you." Um,
Mm.
so I ended up taking this class with another medium because I said, "You know what? I need to know. Like I really do. I need to know like what's going on." And again, like I said, like my mom, that was really a big motivator for me to be able to get help for her. Um, so the medium, I started taking this class with her, and we actually had like a one-on-one reading, and I was telling her some of the things that I was experiencing, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're a whole ass medium." Like, yeah, that's that's him. That's happening. Like it's a thing. And so really in a way, I have to thank my stepfather because
Mm.
from him bugging the hell out of me, it really made me, take that step and go on and, start taking classes and just opening myself up to like what else might be going on here. And so,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, so I know it's a long explanation,
Oh, no.
but
It's your journey.
that's what led me here. That's what led me here. And so, yeah, and so even with my mom, unfortunately, my mom she did make her transition in 2018. She died September 9th. It was 9/9/2018. So she went out on those nines. Um,
Mm.
and I actually I saw my mom take her last breath. And
Wow.
um, yeah, this is something you don't forget. You don't
Yeah.
um, and in that, yeah, my mom, it's so funny because my mom is so active when she wants to be. And like talking to my sister. My sister, so I only have like one sister. We are very close. And so
Hmm.
family, they moved to Africa
Oh,
about
wow.
year and a half ago. And so it's so funny because sometimes we'll talk and it's like I will have dreams of my mom or I'll start seeing her name or just different things. Like, because we talked. One thing I will say that with my mom, I'm so grateful because through her process, her cancer experience, I was one of her primary caretakers. 'Cause
Mm,
at the time my sister lived in Sacramento, which is about 8 hours or something away. So she would
mm,
fly down like every couple of weeks to come and be with my mom. But
mm,
my sister's married, she got family, she had a job, all that stuff. So,
yeah.
so I was her primary, and my sons they would help out as well. But she got to see me on this journey, and I started going to this like trans denominational spiritual center for a while. And so
Mm.
she actually would come with me to services there. We got to have
Oh,
conversations about, what do you think is going to happen when you die? Or what, will you talk to me? Like, how are you going to communicate? And so, we got to talk about, like, okay, when I'm around you, I'm going to show you this, I'm going to send this to you. Um,
oh,
and even like 2 weeks before she died, I had this dream and she came to me in the dream. She was in the hospital at that time, and
mm,
my sister and I were still in denial. We were still in denial. We were like, "We're gonna save her. We got more herbs. We got this. We got that." And we were, we were on one.
mm,
But she came to me in a dream, and she looked like this character from X-Men called Storm.
mhm,
My mom had beautiful my mom was gorgeous, first of all. My mom was gorgeous, and she had this incredibly long, beautiful hair. She
wow.
was always, actually, she was a model at one time, like, she would model here and there, but just for fun. Um,
Yeah.
but she always, I used to tease her, call her a professional shopper because, oh my gosh, my mom, woo, man, she could turn shopping into a Olympic event. And so but she came to me in this dream, and she looked like Storm to me, but she told me that it was her time and that she was about to go. And so I was like, "No, what do you mean? You can't go. I'm not ready." Like, "No, you can't go." And
Yeah.
so she said, "No, it's my time. I'm about to go, and I'm gonna show you what your life is gonna look like in 3 years, in 5 years, and beyond. And I'm gonna
Mm,
show you what it looks like if you stay where you are right now, if you take this other path, or if you do this other thing." And at
mm,
that time, I was working a job that I absolutely hated.
mm,
But I will say this about that job. That job at that time, so I was a mail carrier for the post office.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was the gift though in that situation is that ironically, well, I won't even say ironically because I don't feel like there's accidents with things. Um,
Mm,
I was working in the area where the hospital and the doctors were that my mom would go to. So I would literally be able to go to work, put my route together super fast. I would run through delivering as much of my route as I could. Then I would literally go in my postal truck and go meet my mom to be with her at her doctor's appointment. I would go sit with her when she was getting her chemo. I would take her food so it's so funny because in some ways it was like the worst time in my life, and yet
mm,
also like such a gift and such a blessing. that I could be there with her and still
Mhm.
do my job. Because my supervisor at the time, he knew what was going on, and so he would work with me, so that I could do what I needed to do to be there with my mom. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, so she came to me in that dream, and so she literally showed me my life in the future, and
Wow.
she told me, she said, "There's no judgment. So if you choose to
Mm.
stay at this job until you die or you retire, that's okay. Don't be mad about it. Don't, don't regret it. Just
Mm.
choose it and be in it fully. Now, if you want to do something else, then do that something else and do that fully."
Mm.
And so she showed me like these three different possibilities for my life. And I could even feel, it was so crazy, Jennifer. Like I could even feel, like she showed me, she said, a year from now, this is how your heart is going to feel.
Wow.
That pain that you're going to feel. This is going to be you 3 years from now. This is going to be you 5 years from now. This will be you 10 years from now. And
Wow.
I could literally feel it in my body,
Mm.
that heartache. And then as time went on, I could feel that pain alleviating and, turning into something else.
Mm.
And so, but throughout the whole experience, I just kept saying, "No, mommy, no. Like, I don't want you to go. Like, all this is great. I don't care. I don't care about none of that. I
Right.
just don't want you to go." And so, she was loving and firm.
Mhm.
And, she was like, "I love you, and, I will always be around you." And so, so it was really powerful. And I went to go see her that next day, and I was looking at her kind of funny, and she was looking at me like, "What you looking at? Why? What's going on?" And I was like, "Did you have any dreams last night? You remember anything?" And she was like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, never mind." But it was just, but that was something that was really, really powerful, and it's something that I've seen happen for other people as well. And even when I tap in, um, people from the other side will show me like, "Oh yeah, I set this thing in motion for my loved one. I set this up for them so that even when I'm no longer here in the body, like, they're gonna be taken care of, or this opportunity is going to come their way." And
Wow.
like one thing about our loved ones on the other side, they will move so many things in our favor. They will line things up, but it's still up to us to actually walk through that door, to say yes to that thing, to bring it to life on this side of the veil. But
Mm.
they will move mountains to help us. They will do things to protect us. And again, if we choose to keep going back to that relationship, if we choose to keep, you know, abusing our bodies, or, whatever the thing is, that is our right because we are sovereign. We get to make that choice.
Yeah.
But they are wanting to help us. They are wanting the best for us. Even those that in life, they may have been our worst enemy. They
Mm.
can turn and become like our greatest allies.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And that's not everybody though. Wait, let me add this little
Yeah.
caveat. Sometimes there's like this misnomer that people think when somebody dies, they just instantly become infinite, all knowing, they all know what you need. Like, oh, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not how it works. But they can make a choice. They can choose to evolve. They can choose to grow. And just like for me, I see it just like if we work with a particular deity, if we work with the Oya or Morgan, Santa Muerte,
Mm.
they all have like their specialties. Now they can
Mhm.
all help us. They can help us like across the board to a certain degree, but they have their specialty where they're going to really shine and help us out the most in that particular way. And so our loved ones is kind of that same way. Like they don't know
Mm.
everything, but they can they can kind of get a glimpse of what's coming, or they can give us hints like, you might want to stay home today, or you might not want to go on that across that bridge. Maybe go this other way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm. Well, I let's see here. I can appreciate that story. I like I said, I can understand it, and I'm listening to you, and I'm seeing a lot of similarities really in our participation in helping our mothers through their transitioning process. And so I'm just sitting here like my heart is just like that's how I feel right now. But I want so in the oh, I'm sorry.
no, I was just agreeing with you. Like, yeah, yeah,
All right. Oh, hi Harlow in the comments. And then she
yeah.
said,
That's the
hmm,
Bianca too. There's Bianca is there as well.
and Kathy. And then I see beautiful Bree laughed at I think your stepfather kicking a bucket. So your journey is very interesting because we do have these events that happen in our life that really push us forward when we might not be thinking about it at the time. But of course, hindsight is 50-50, right? We can see it clearly once we get there and see how the steps and the events and situations are lining up to get us to that point. So, like, I know other people might be going through something similar or going through situations that they may be like, why is this happening? So, how do you, okay, so for people that are wanting to really connect more with their spiritual side, but really more until as far as their psychic and mediumship skills, like, what are some tips that you can give those individuals?
Yeah. So one thing is to just start noticing like what you're drawn to as far as books, movies, videos that just seem to quote randomly pop up in your news feed. Uh,
Mm.
I used to treat Barnes and Noble like a library, so I
Girl,
would and just start perusing different books. And I mean, I remember reading this book. What was the book? Oh dang it! What was that book? It's not The Secret Life of a Yogi. What was that book? I forget the name of the book right now. Hopefully, it'll come to me.
it's
Um,
okay.
but I read this book, and it was talking about Jesus. Maybe it was like The Secret Life of Jesus or something. But it was
Mm.
talking about like his life beyond what was represented in the traditional Christian Bible, and it was saying how he was going to study like metaphysics. He was learning all of these different um, modalities. And
Mm.
I remember reading that and it resonated. It felt so true to me. And then at the same time, I was still like kind of half in and half out of the church. So I remember like slamming the book, like, oh my God. I put the book back and like ran off the aisle and just tried to act like I ain't do it. It wasn't me. I don't know. I don't know. It was bad. It was like these breadcrumbs. So, just be aware of the breadcrumbs and even like what we call synchronicities. Like there's no coincidences. There are no
Yeah.
coincidences. So so one thing that people I think they often miss is like they'll say, well, my loved one is not reaching out to me or they're not around me and this and that. And then when you start talking to them and I ask, well, do you notice like when you're thinking about your person and maybe do the lights start flickering off and on? And they're like, oh yeah, but I thought that was just, it's like, no, that was Uncle Bobby trying to reach out to you. Or,
Mm.
when you're thinking about someone, maybe even so one thing I do say, I tell people all the time, like talk out loud to your people. Like if
Yeah.
you're wanting to make that connection, talk out loud because they can hear us. They can hear
Yeah.
us. They're always literally just right there, just waiting for us to call. So it's like imagining that you're in a big room with a bunch of people and everybody's just kind of minding their own thing. But as soon as somebody calls your name, your ears perk up. Like you hear when your name is called. You turn
Mm.
your attention that way. So they are like that as well on the other side. So talk
Mm.
to them. Be aware of what you're drawn to. Notice the so-called coincidences in your life,
Mm.
especially like pay attention to like if you have really been missing your mom as an example, and then you open the door and there's like a butterfly is about to fly and smack
Mm.
you in the face. Like, maybe that's your
Yeah.
mom reaching out to you. Or maybe, you find a feather by your car door or just different things. So be aware. Be aware of if you hear your loved one's
Mm.
name being spoken. Even if it's a movie, you turn on the TV and somebody's saying, oh, Susie, blah, 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 and that's your mom's name. Like, that's them reaching out saying, hey, I hear you. I feel you. I love you. I'm
Mm.
aware of you. So, journaling is a really great thing to do. So just like having those conversations with your
Mm.
loved ones on paper, even if you feel like you're not getting any of the signs, write write to them, write as if they were
Wow.
sitting right there with you, and just say, whatever you want to say. I miss you. I love you. I feel stuck around this thing. I don't know what to do. I really need some help. And then stay open for answers. Like, don't poo poo the answers because that's the other thing. We'll And then when it shows up, we're
Right.
like, "Nah, that can't be it. That's not that's not right. That's easy. What you mean?" Like, that's your
Yeah.
answer. So yeah, so don't push it away. Don't push away what's shown to you. And, the more you start to acknowledge these so-called, coincidences, then you will start to notice more, like more and more and more things will come to you. For some people, they will have dreams about people, and dreams are a form of
Yeah.
visitation. So if you think about your loved one, that is them reaching out to you because now your conscious thinking, know it all ass
You're
mind is
right.
not in the way, right? So now they can reach out to you and spend some time and just say, hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. I know you've been thinking about me, and I'm
Hmm.
here. Um, So yeah, just start reading different books. Watch people on YouTube and see who you resonate with. And to be fair, all mediums are not the same.
True.
All psychics are not the same. We don't all work the same. Some people
Yeah.
are full of crap, so you do want to be mindful. I don't ever hit anybody up in their inbox with the hey, spirit told me that you need to watch out and blah. No, no. People like that, I don't give a damn. Don't do
Let
it.
me tell you real
Don't do it.
quick. There is a
Not
code word for people like that that I have found. um, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, please tell me
Yes.
what is the word?
So let me tell
Yeah.
you a really quick story. Somebody hit my best friend up and she, we laugh at it. She sent me a message and was like, hey, this person has hit me up. And I said, well, that person just friend requested me as well. So she's going on and on, of course, to my friend, and she's sending me screenshots. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to accept their request and I'm going to hit them before they can hit me because I already knew what it was. So I hit them with the thank you for connecting. I sense a bunch of evil around you, throwing their own same BS back at them. And then they said,
Right.
they said, alaje. It's a Yoruba word, which translates to like, I see you as far as the scam community. And so, yeah, it's like a
Uh-huh.
ALAJE. And so I was like, what does that mean? And then I just, went about my day. And then I researched it and somebody else told me when they found it online. And then so somebody else hit me up on Instagram a different time. And then I said, well, let me try this code word. I threw it at them. And then they was like, oh, bad guy, sorry. Like, I guess because they realized they tried to scam a scammer, quote unquote. But anyway, that's the story. So anybody hit you up, just type that word in.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Depending on how I'm feeling, I take that person and I put that energy on the
Mhm.
altar. Like here, y'all have this person some talking BS, and they clearly don't know what to do
Right.
with their energy. So let's put it to work. But yeah, so that I don't like. I really so I do encourage people, check people out, check to see do they have an actual website, can you see their
Mhm.
actual face, or do they have reviews? Um and yeah, I my personal philosophy, I don't encourage anyone to work with anybody who
Mm-mm.
slides up in your inbox. Just don't do it.
Mm-mm.
Don't do it. Um, I've worked with so many people who've who've lost
Mhm.
thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
I follow people who make up these, you're cursed, your family's cursed. I'm gonna remove this thing, and then they give them some money, and then it's like, oh well, if you don't pay me
Mhm.
another 5,000, then I'm gonna do this and that to you. I'm gonna put this back on you,
Yeah.
and it's like, what?
Yeah.
No,
I had a woman
no.
call me literally
So
crying,
yes,
scared that if she didn't give this man money, and I told her, I said, "Don't you do it. You're not gonna die." Because he told her she was gonna die. Girl, I'm sorry.
mm,
I get real passionate. I'm with you. I hate this. I'm with you.
yeah. So be aware. Um, and if you feel like you want to actually learn, then find mentors, find groups to get involved in. You can start practicing. So one thing that I share, so I share like different techniques on my page and in my groups, for people to practice. So one thing that you can do that's really easy, it's fun, is you can get another person, a willing person, uh, and you can ask them to think of a person that they know personally, and you can pull that person up
Mm,
in your mind and just see what you can sense
mm,
about that person. Sense something about their personality. Maybe you can feel something going on in their body. You can also do this. It's called psychometry. So you can hold
mm,
an object that belongs to someone, and you can see what you start to pick up from that. So that's something easy to do. It's a easy practice. You can get like a deck of playing cards and just start practicing, turn the cards over just one by one and see like what image do you get? Are you able to see, red? Do you see black? Do you see a shape? Do you see a number? Um, and just make it play though. Don't act like, your whole life depends on you getting it right.
mm.
That stuff. Like it is
Right.
not that serious. Just make it fun, make it playful, but just start playing with different things. Play with thinking of someone that you like, that you actually like, that you want to hear from. Hold that person in your mind. Think about, I'd love to hear from you. I hope things are going well with you. I send you love. I hope opportunities are pouring
Mm,
into you. And just like send that out and say, I would love to talk to you in your mind, while thinking of that person. I would love to talk to you.
mm.
And then just see what happens. See how long before they reach out to you or you quote randomly run into them at the store or,
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can like play and start building your
Oh,
intuition.
beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I agree. There are so many ways. And please, I think you hit it on the head when you say make it play. Don't be too hard on yourself because the moment that you're too hard on yourself is the moment that you can shut yourself down. And that's not what you want to do. So definitely keep it light and keep it airy. So you do readings, yes? Because I have a link for folks to, I'm gonna throw it up there. Tell us,
Yes, I do.
yeah.
Yes, and it's on sale. It's on sale because I woke up this morning with my great great auntie talking to me, and I'm like, okay, all right, let's put them on sale today. Okay, So so yeah, so the 30-minute mediumship reading. Um, yeah, I'm having a moment because I'm just reflecting on a conversation actually I just had with someone. Um, so mediumship readings are they're
Mm,
conversational. Um, I ask you, who you want to speak to, the age when they made their transition, and their
mm,
relationship to you, and then I tap into their energy through you, and and then whatever questions a person may have, I ask those questions. Um, the people sometimes when I connect, they immediately have a lot to say. Um, People will like show me scenes from their
mm,
funeral to let their family know, like, I was aware, like I was around, I saw you, I saw what you did. Um, yeah, I mean, of course, each session is
yeah,
different, um, but they are conversational, and I'm very I always
mm,
give people action steps, regardless if it's a psychic reading, a business reading, a mediumship reading. I always give people some type of action
yes,
steps to take after the call to help, build on whatever information
yeah.
they receive. So, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry, my family is down there playing and screaming. I hope it, I don't know if anybody can hear it on here, but so yes, I love it. I can't wait to talk to you off of the show because just listening to you and the things that you're sharing there, I can see some similarities and such, and I just love it. I'm so grateful for you for coming on here. And if you are still here with us, make sure you let us know in the comments. Make sure you like this video and make sure you book a reading with Erica because her link is right here, right here, right here. Make sure you book because she said it's on sale, y'all. You better catch it while you can, okay? Oh, yes.
Thank
Oh, thank
you.
you so much for your time because we have been trying to get this done and we got it done despite we can't see you, but it's okay. We got it done.
Yay. I'm so grateful. So thank you so much for having me on. This was
Yeah.
really, really great. And yeah, everybody reach out. And if you have questions, you can always inbox me your questions about, the services or yeah, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And I've got Patreon that I'm putting together, so that'll be launching soon. Um, but yeah, I'm open, yeah, to questions or whatever. So thank you.
Yes, awesome sauce. Okay, y'all. So make sure you join us next week. We'll be talking about something else in the spiritual realm. I don't ever remember what it is, but one of these days I'm going to remember what the following week is. So, again, make sure you like, share, heart, and we'll see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you all later.